What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Elevator Life.
Hey guys, how's it going? Wherever you're at in the world, I hope you're having a good one.
Yeah, today we're kind of switching up the structure of our posts just to make sure, Tim or I don't go on too random tangents or rants. We want to keep it focused, keep it organized, and make sure all the information gets to you as clearly and quickly as possible.
Even though those tangents and rants are sometimes amazing.
Yeah,
we all know that. Yeah, so we're gonna start most of our posts with what we're going to start calling, I think it's a working title, but we're going to call it China Life. We get a lot of questions from people about why are we doing what we're doing. We were just in Fuzhou this last week and we were getting some emails. Why are you guys in Fuzhou? How are you guys sitting down with those people? And so we want to make it, a topic of what we talk about in the beginning, just to give a few minute updates of how things are happening to us. So it allows people and our listeners to really connect and feel like they can actually understand and have an example of what we actually talk about in our posts. It gives some life to actually what we're talking about. Because we actually do live exactly what we talk about in these videos, guys.
Yeah, and on top of our updates, we also want to give just an overall update about a certain area in China, a certain sector, whether it's something big that's happening in the business world, the lifestyle world, wherever it is. If it's on international news circuits, it's obviously worth it to mention, and it's good to get our insight because we're sitting here in the middle, smack dab middle of Guangdong province as we speak.
Exactly. We're the actual guys that are going through what everyone's talking about in the news. So this week, it was just announced that China is not going to reach its growth expectations for international trade. And that's been a big deal, a big hot topic of conversation, and how that affects the outlook of business in China, how it affects entrepreneurs like us, how it affects everyone around the world. And so we want to talk about that for a little bit right now, kind of our personal take on that situation.
Yeah, I was actually on the phone with one of our wineries earlier this week, and his concern was China's not reaching their growth, or China's slowing down. And I read the article too on CNN, and it said China's only growing at 7.2 or 7.4 this quarter, not the projected 7.8. And any other country with 7.2% growth during this, economic hardship around, global economic hardship, I think would not be too upset. But it's just, it's interesting to see how media from around the world kind of spins it in their favor, depending on who their allegiance is to or their political views, etc., etc.
Exactly. And I think it's important to realize what actually has been driving the economy over here for so long. You really got to understand the overall encompassing picture of what is going on and why they're not achieving those growth points to actually take some value out of those articles. And so what has driven growth here in China, especially in the last decade, it's obviously been international trade, and it's been real estate, the boom with real estate,
Yeah.
And that's kind of hitting like a housing bubble that happened back in the US. It's slowing down. They overbuilt for a little bit. And obviously international trade, their trade has been going down, their exports. But there's a third sector that we need to keep in mind when we're talking about the Chinese economy, and that is consumer spending, okay? And that is increasing severely. So while the other two main aspects of their economy are going down a little bit, what's important to us is consumer spending, and that is going up. And that's an important thing that not as a lot talked about in those articles, but entrepreneurs, especially people that are looking to sell in China, need to keep in mind. Yeah. Also, if you're exporting from China, it's also important to keep in mind to know that a lot of factories are struggling, so you can probably negotiate better deals.
Definitely, yeah. That was perfect. I was like, is he not going to mention it? But he did. The import sector here, the domestic growth, is fueling this economy, and it's not slowing down because they're not slowing down spending their money. We said it before, we said it again, we're blown away by how much people spend, and how that middle class continues to grow, and more people are just, the liquid capital here is just incredible. At the airport yesterday, this guy took out a stack like 10, 20,000 out of his pocket. It's just the cash is here, it's just the cash heavy. Credit's not used nearly as much as in the States. They have it, they spend it.
So we just wanted to get that point across, guys. We get a different perspective here on the ground from what you can read in the articles and such, and so we just want to pass that information along to you as whenever we can. Us personally, we spent the week in Fuzhou. We were up with an investor of ours, checking out the city, the second tier city. The first time we were up there to do the same thing, it wasn't too good of a visit. We had some kind of, I would say now that we've seen it twice, biased opinions, And that's why it's so important to get there on the ground, see for yourself what a second tier city is, the investment possibilities that are there. And that's going to bring us to a topic we need to talk a lot more about is second tier cities. And so you'll be hearing us comment on that in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, we spent 3 or 4 days there last time, and we saw a section of Fuzhou, and then this last trip we saw a different part of it. And you just have to be realistic. You can't learn a city in a week. There's just no way. And so we were able to go learn a little bit more, see some new sides, meet some new people, and overall it was a productive trip for sure.
Definitely. So a little story from over there. We'll get into it. One question we got was, because we were sitting at a forum, we actually spent most of the week with the ambassadors, 15 different countries, ambassadors from 15 different countries, and the head of International Tea Committee. And so we were with these big people in the Chinese tea and export communities. And the question is, how are you guys sitting down? How do you guys network over there? It's those kind of events. We go to those kind of events, and we were by far the sore thumbs there. Like we were probably 15 years younger than the closest person to us. However, people were able to see our hustle. They would listen to our story, and by the end of it, we became friends with these people that are going to be contacts, and they have sway. We don't know if we're going to work with any of those guys in the future, but that's the thing. This living over here in China has given us the opportunity to network with people we would never be networking with in another stage.
We were with one of the biggest tea importers or tea producers out of Fujian province. And he happens to like wine, so do all his other corporate boss friends who do corporate gifting, 50 to 100 cases of wine. Who knows if that prospect will work out, but I mean, you just look at those connections, like you said, ambassadors to, Georgia is also a wine producing country. We were with the ambassador from there, and he was trying to figure out, wine, bringing it in, et cetera, et cetera. So just another dialogue started that has potential to go somewhere, so you just got to follow up.
Exactly, guys. That's the key. There's just networking, and it's hard to get the point across on what's actually happening. We'll try and get a video out there of the sites that we saw and the actual process we went through in the last few days, because it was really, really entertaining and great networking along the way.
Definitely.
But getting into the topic today, guys, and it's been something we've been saying we're going to talk about for a long time here.
Months.
We're finally going to get to it, and we hope it helps a lot of you guys out, because we know you're thinking about moving there. And that is the entrepreneurship scene in Shenzhen. What is it all about? What is it like to live there? What is the city like?
Yeah, we get asked a lot why, even when we speak there, why Guangzhou over Shenzhen, and we just knew Guangzhou was a big city and said why not. If we did some due diligence, we'd probably be in Shenzhen, but we're obviously happy with how we are in Guangzhou now. But yeah, this city is, Shenzhen is, the scene there is so much different than it is here in Guangzhou for so many reasons. And first, Guangzhou, let's start back in the day, a couple thousand years of history, 2,000 plus. Shenzhen started in 1979, I think, as a special economic zone for development and growth in China. So, look at the histories there.
Yeah, guys, when you're thinking about moving to a city, you have to kind of pick out the points and what you want from a certain city. Us personally, what we looked at and what we wanted is going to be different from someone else that's looking to come over here. And so that's what this post is going to be all about. We always get that question, why Guangzhou? Well, to be honest, guys, there was no why. It was kind of, we knew it was a big city. We knew it wasn't the number one city. It wasn't like Shanghai, which was like the New York. We wanted to be different, and that's kind of why I didn't even know about Shenzhen when I came over here. That's how much thinking went into it. But for all you guys that are worried about it, let's talk about it. Shenzhen, like he was just saying, is a new city. Meaning you don't have the old culture, the personality that comes along with a really ancient city like Guangzhou. We have certain parts of this city that are just old. You can go find that culture. You can really feel the personality of a city like Guangzhou because of its past. Because it actually has people that are Guangzhou people. Their family has been here for generations and generations. Shenzhen, on the other hand, it's brand new. Just been developed in, like he said, the last 30 years. All of it. It's almost as big as Guangzhou now. But you don't have that culture. It's not a culture hub. You don't have people that call themselves, I'm a person from Shenzhen. Because most of them come from everywhere else, all around China, to work there. And so it is almost developing like its own kind of culture, but it doesn't have the personality or old Chinese feel of a city like Guangzhou. So it really depends on what you're looking for in the cultural aspect.
Yeah, it was set up just purely for trade and like the commerce sector. And you know, that also, what he was saying, leads into another cultural point, which I know is big for a lot of the viewers. Shenzhen is the Mandarin there. It's, you know, it's all Mandarin based. And a lot of people, oh, it's in Guangdong province, they probably speak Cantonese, like Guangzhou, which is an hour away. Not true. Majority of them are migrants, and all of these migrants, obviously their common language is Mandarin. So that's easy for them. It's a good stepping stone, I guess, to get into southern China for sure.
True. Personally, we really like Shenzhen because it has that new feel, because it's all brand new, built just in the last few decades. It's nice. It's got a lot more trees. It's more spread out than a city like Guangzhou. It's on the water. And coming from the US where we kind of grew up, the feel there is nice. It's comfortable.
Exactly.
Okay. But like I said, it's all looking on what you get. We have some friends that really like Guangzhou for the fact that it is an old Chinese city. That it has that culture. So it really depends on that side what you're looking for. Moving on, the entrepreneurship scene in Shenzhen is really starting to pick up. It's fantastic. We like going there because of the fact you have some major players in the Chinese business game based right there in Shenzhen.
Yeah, a lot of the people we've met, I'm sure actually a lot of you know their names. There's Michael Michelini, there's Matthew Cowlack, there's Chris Gormley. A lot of these guys have been mentioned on websites such as ours, Tropical MBA, just very similar websites about international entrepreneurship. And you know, these guys, you know, they set up these forums, these functions, these speeches. Shenzhen Startup Tuesday, where Tim and I have spoke before. It's just the buzz there. They're trying to do something similar in Guangzhou, but it hasn't even formed yet, or the plan hasn't even formed. That's developed in Shenzhen. And if you think about a network where there's people just like you or just like us who want to do entrepreneurship, do business, you know, who better to have than people like that in your inner circle?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about them. Michelini, he's not currently in Shenzhen, but that is his home base. He is developing what he's calling Weibo Agent. Weibo is the Twitter, the largest social platform, I think, in the world of China. And he is running a startup up in Dalian, where they're getting this off the ground. They're currently running the beta version. But he's going to be representing people on Weibo, from international celebrities to athletes, everyone of that such sort. And so we're really excited for him. That thing, you know, we got a lot of faith in what he's doing up there. Exciting guy. Been in China for years and years and years and knows his stuff. Anyone, if you're looking to do internet in China, he's the guy to be talking to.
100%.
Next is Matt Cowlack.
Yeah, he is.
And his partner, Jamin.
Yeah, they are great guys. You know, stayed with them before. Been out with them before, and obviously talked business with them. And they're sourcing wizards based out there in Shenzhen for sure. Whether it's quality control or finding a factory or assisting you with any manufacturing needs you may have, they're the guys to go to, 100%. What is their highsteppin.com is their sourcing website, and they're looking for an intern right now as well. I think the window may have closed, but they're kind of doing invite you out, give you a place to live, a stipend, and you get to see how to do sourcing firsthand, which couldn't recommend more than the way to jump right into it.
And then Chris Gormley, guys, he does pretty much everything. He's a really class act guy. He's an entrepreneur by any definition of the word. I know one of his main businesses, he trades LED lights from China, sources them all over the world for trains. He's in the cell phone business. He's in all sorts of kinds of business. Very extremely successful, and again, he's got a lot of experience coming here to Guangzhou, or coming here to China. And once again, he's based in Shenzhen. And so that's just a little idea of what's going on in Shenzhen. A lot of big players are there, and we only hit some of our 3 favorites. But there's more than that, guys. So we really do like the entrepreneurship scene there. Entrepreneurship scene in Guangzhou. We really like us. I mean,
we're cool. It's nowhere near where it is in Shenzhen at the moment. We have had a lot of visitors, which is great, but that's truly because Tim and I are on here preaching about Guangzhou, and I actually just got a call from a buddy of ours, JP, who actually is coming. Canton Fair starts next week. So a lot of people are coming through town and getting in touch with us. So if you're one of them, please
Give us a shout out. Yeah.
Meet up for a beer or 2 or 3, and then we'll see how we can help each other out.
All right. Moving on, guys. One more aspect that is going to be important for a lot of people moving over here is the fact that Shenzhen is just generally, it's more Western than Guangzhou.
Yeah.
It's more Western than a lot of cities, obviously, other than Shanghai. It's a lot Western. Why is that? Why is it so Western?
It's new. First of all, it's a brand new. There's no cultural clash, if you will. There's no outstanding traditions. It's a brand new city. It was built for foreign direct investment, and also if you look at its proximity to Hong Kong,
there we go.
It's just it's a 45-minute train.
Yeah.
Metro. It's a metro. It's not even a train actually. It costs you 30 HKD, or else you can catch a ferry, or else you can catch a bus. And it's just super convenient, and everybody knows Hong Kong, and it's the perfect mix between Western and Chinese, and that's rubbed off on Shenzhen.
Yeah, guys. Well, when you think about Western companies trying to get into China, what is safer for them? A Western culture like Shenzhen, or coming into a bigger city like Guangzhou, which has more Chinese culture, has more, more. They feel more of a connection, obviously, to their past, and so it's harder to get into a market like Guangzhou in some aspects. And so you got like a Dunkin' Donuts in Shenzhen. You got more Western locations and developments in a place like that, which will make your life a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's a good stepping stone into mainland China for sure. Not as Western as Shanghai, where you have a service where you can give the phone to the taxi driver and then tell you where you need to go, how far it would be, etc. It's definitely more Chinese, but it's a good place to start, good place to get comfortable, and then see if you want to make that move to a Guangzhou or a Chengdu or maybe even a second-tier city to chase that opportunity.
It's a double-edged sword, guys, where you have both the proximity to Hong Kong, which makes your life so much easier, so much more enjoyable when you can go there for a weekend, get away from the China hustle and bustle, but you also have the ability to be in China, work on the ground in China, get into the Chinese entrepreneurship, get into anything you want to do. You got to be here on the ground in China, because as we all know, Hong Kong is way different. It is not China. Don't let people convince you that it is China. It's not. So you do have both the benefits of being in China at the same time as being really, really close to Hong Kong, which will make your life, it's like a release valve. If you never need to get away, you can just hop right across the border into Hong Kong. And so that is a huge asset, the fact that it is next to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So I guess wrapping that topic up about Shenzhen, it's brand new, guys, so it's got a cleaner feel. It's on the ocean, it's got a good vibe and that kind of sort. The entrepreneur scene is really picking up. You got some big boss hogs down there really doing work. They're more than willing to help out, more than willing to talk to people. And you got your close proximity to Hong Kong, which is a release valve. It makes it comfortable.
Yeah, we just pretty much covered why we love Shenzhen.
Yeah,
which is
we
true.
do.
It's a great city. We'd even discussed relocating there before, but not in our cards at the moment. We're happy in Guangzhou nonetheless. But yeah, Shenzhen's a great city, and if you're looking to take a jump into China and at least be a little, I guess, make that transfer into China, into the real China, I think Shenzhen's a great opportunity if you want to just get your feet wet, get moving.
Exactly. I would like to say we do like the city. We're not saying all the opportunities are in Shenzhen.
True.
That's a really important fact to keep separate. The opportunities aren't necessarily where it's comfortable.
Yeah.
This is a good transition point into China, but if you're looking to do business here on the ground, other than stuff like sourcing, and if you're looking to do business in on the ground, you're going to have to find the opportunities, but Shenzhen will be a good platform to begin that process.
Yeah. It's an immigrant city, or a migrant city, so there's your connections to the outskirts of China, the other cities of China. That's truly how it works here. We just explained it in Fuzhou. You meet somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else, and before you know it, you're on your way into a venture that you're very excited about, passionate about, and if you're working hard enough, you'll be successful at.
Yeah, buddy. All right, guys, we want to leave you with a quote I saw yesterday, posted by another entrepreneurship friend. He said, "Worrying does not empty tomorrow of its troubles. It empties today of its strengths." And I love that. We all know that feeling of being nervous about tomorrow and you can hardly work today, but take every day at a time, especially when you're an entrepreneur. You got to get what you can done today. Tomorrow will happen. It'll happen, and it always will. Worrying about it's not going to change anything.
Exactly. If you don't worry, focus on what you have to do that day, and like you said, tomorrow will come, and be ready for it.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Hopefully see you in Shenzhen soon.
All right, cheers.
Bye, guys.